There is one more type of general object we might want on a screen like this. In the component library, I have some alarm counts. Let's drag some of these out and see how we can view device summary alarms on the diagrams. I have several different components here that can display the different alarm states. As on the Alarms tab, I can view alarms that are currently active, alarms that have not yet been acknowledged, combinations of the two, or the total alarms viewable in the system. For each view, we also have an option with filters, which shows an example of how to filter the various alarms. We'll come back to that. For now, I'll drag out an active or unacknowledged view, as these are usually the most important alarms. They are either currently in an alarm state or have cleared the alarm, but no one has recognized it happened. Inside this component, I have two text objects. The first is the counter's label. I'll change this to something more meaningful. You may also want to move the text around in this component, but I'll leave this as an exercise for you. The second text object contains the alarm binding, but I don't actually have to modify this. Instead, keeping my component selected, I'm going to come over to the binding tree and click on my device. You can see that this fills in the name property of the component. When I save the file, the binding engine will take this name and then apply the alarm binding later in the text object to that equipment. We'll see this much more in the advanced one-line section later. As it is, I'll save the page and refresh in the WebHMI. I have a digital input here on my main meter, and you can see as I generate an alarm, it's displayed in the alarm banner and the counter increments. When I reset the alarm, my banner also resets because it is only displaying active alarms, but my counter stays the same because I have not yet acknowledged the alarm. Back in the graphics editor, I have one more thing to show you with the equipment. We have bound the component to any alarm on this one piece of equipment, but we can go up one level. Let me copy this component and change the name to Site Alarms. If I remove the equipment from the name and leave it blank, the component will bind instead to any matching alarm in the project. You can see this back in the WebHMI. I have one alarm in my utility main meter, but two alarms in the project. Next, let's add an alarm counter with a filter. This is fundamentally the same component, but the group by property has been filled in with a few examples. I can filter by only certain alarm priorities, high, medium, low, or event. I can filter out everything except communication failures, which is useful for monitoring your site's health. Finally, I can view alarms for only a certain date. Generally, I'll use these to only indicate high priority alarms, so let's do that. I'll remove everything except priority and change the text to high. Of course, the label needs to be changed to match. Now, I have disabled my meter, and you will see that one new alarm come in for my site high alarms, as the communications failure has a high priority. In this way, we can monitor the alarm states not only on the Alarms tab, but also directly in our diagrams. Of course, these bindings can also be used for graphical indications, but we'll come back to that in a later video. For now, let's move on to Advanced One-Line. Until then, thank you.